Okay, this is Moshe coming to you from Israel in the Galilee, sitting outside. The war. So, before I start, I cover the war deeply in my Telegram channel. You download Telegram Messenger, you install it, send me an email. My email address is israelgiving with the number 7 at gmail.com. It's also in the description box under the video on the line lowest down, the bottom line. Israel Giving with the number 7 at gmail.com. Just put Telegram in the subject header, and I'll send you the invite link. And that gets updated a few hundred times a day with all sorts of information. I translate from Arabic and Hebrew into English and stuff like that, and you get the news fast. So we still have soldiers inside Gaza. We're trying to break down their security defenses on the border, the eastern border, and the western border by the Mediterranean. The trick with going in with the tanks is you have to stay to the main roads that are kind of wide and relatively straight. If you go off on the side path roads, they have sharp turns and twists and zigs and zags, and that enables them to ambush you. There's still tanks and soldiers in there. The rumors flowing from the enemy in the Arabic social media are unbelievable. You can't tell. I mean, they contradict each other with their false reports, and it's a joke, really. There's going to be more ground invasions. The communications are relatively cut. However, Elon Musk said he opened up one of his satellite deals to them. He calls it a satellite, and for internet. And the feedback we're getting is that it's not good enough. He said he opened it up to aid workers, but he didn't. He opened it up to all of them, of course. And they need to go up on the roof of buildings to get a signal. They're also getting signals by the Egyptian border. I guess they're having, they got their hands on Egyptian, cell phone chips, so they could pick up signals down there. So the social media is now back in, I would say, full swing. So there is some internet signals going on there. But they could all be going up to rooftops to get the signal. This we don't know. So after the ground invasion, there was a suppression of missiles for quite a while, but they're back in full swing again. So the missiles have, I don't detect any reduction in the amount of missiles. And the IDF is dedicated to continuing with different ground invasions. We're already in. I don't know if they're going to do more tonight or whatnot, but they're doing a lot of bombings. And we got to stop those missiles. I mean, so please pray that the missiles coming into Israel and the rockets and the mortars and all that stops. The IDF isn't exactly telling us, and why should they, what we're going to have next, but they are reinforcing that these smaller ground invasions are what they're going to do. And we've heard that the Americans agree with this, and there's no problem there. Erdogan of Turkey, who is the former Ottoman Empire, is really bad-mouthing us, and he's in NATO, so, he doesn't belong in NATO. I think they have him in there just for the Bosphorus Straits to control Russia from going from the Black Sea to the Mediterranean and vice versa. Russia's become pretty quiet. Hostage negotiations broke down yesterday before the ground invasion. They're talking like thousands and thousands of prisoners for the hostages. They want us to empty out our jail of terrorists, I think 6,000, and give it back to them, and then We're just basically recruiting 6,000 more fighters for Hamas, and that's fairly stupid. Aid is coming into the south of Gaza, which is water, food, and medical supplies and equipment, and it comes in generally once a day from the Rafah crossing in Egypt. It's apparently plenty sufficient. We illustrated in the world media a large hospital with 1,500 beds that is on top of a big Hamas operation that's underground, and also they operate inside the hospital as well. So that hospital is probably not long for this world. I'm thinking Hezbollah is doing, intermittent attacks, mostly with anti-tank missiles, Cornet tank missiles, trying to hit tanks. We've bombed them. We've hit them with all kinds of artillery and ordnance and drones and everything else. Still, no big war from them. Iran told them, they can do what they want, but don't do anything that would bring a war on. The attacks on the American military bases in Iraq and Syria are continuing at around 2 or 3 a day from the various Muslim militias located in Iraq and Syria. And I'm sure the Americans are not that happy. They apparently got their anti-aircraft, anti-missile defense systems up there, and they knocked down a bunch of drones. We knocked down 11 missiles coming into Tel Aviv a little while ago, and a missile did land in a parking lot, and it caused a fire in the parking lot. Nobody got hurt, and they're blowing it all up on their Arab social media like they hit the White House or something, Iran did say they're going to expand because the Americans are not stopping. Their goal with the Americans is to get them out of the Middle East, initially Iraq and Syria, and then ultimately Kuwait and Jordan and Saudi Arabia, if we're in Saudi Arabia, UAE, wherever, Qatar, Bahrain, and, eventually so they could just take everything over. That's their goal with America, and America knows it. The Dwight D. Eisenhower aircraft carrier group is headed down to the Red Sea now, which is what we thought. Now, it may not stay in the Red Sea. It may pass through the Red Sea and go down by the Sea of Oman, by the entrance to the Red Sea near Yemen, or it may navigate up by Oman and stay by the entrance to the Persian Gulf. I seriously doubt they're going to keep the Dwight D. Eisenhower in the Red Sea. It's too easy to shoot missiles at it, in my opinion. So I think they'll go down to the Sea of Oman, where it's pretty large and they could get lost pretty good. They could go out 200-300 miles where missiles aren't going to get them, and, they could breathe easy. And 200-300 mile travel for a jet is nothing, So we don't know. I would say it's going to be either by the Sea of Oman, where it enters the Red Sea by Yemen, or it'll be by the Sea of Oman, where Oman is near the Persian Gulf. I would say those are the two best candidates. I don't think they'll put it in the Persian Gulf unless there's really a big war involving Iran or something. It's pretty dangerous to put it in there. Russia's not doing too good in Ukraine is the word, but I don't have great detail on that. China's still provoking Taiwan and Japan as per normal. I can't tell you if we're going to do a ground invasion or not today. I have no idea. Nobody's announced anything. Why should anybody announce it, And remember, we're still in Gaza. And what we're trying to do, I think, is get enough tanks and soldiers in there an armored personnel carrier and other things, so we could focus on missile launch sites and, call in airstrikes or shoot artillery at it, or for close gunfire or machine guns on the tanks or whatever. I don't know what else to tell you. It's a slow process what they're doing. Okay. And they're saying that they're shooting up the soldiers, and we had no casualties in the Gaza limited invasion yesterday. There was no casualties. They're saying they're blowing our tanks up. Well, if they're blowing our tanks up, the soldiers would have been casualties. That's not the case. So they're running the propaganda mill big time, trying to, bolster up the people and whatever. They want to keep the protesters going and, stuff like that. There's talk of many thousands of Muslim terrorist resistance groups, as they like to call themselves, that want to go into Gaza, and how they're going to get in. That's not going to work. They could get into Lebanon. We knocked out the Aleppo and the Damascus airport runways. I'm at a loss as to why Netanyahu doesn't hit the conning tower, the towers that have the radar and the air traffic controls. I don't understand why he doesn't hit those. I'm at a loss. I mean, why doesn't he take the gloves off? To rebuild something like that, it's going to take months. So I hit their radar. Why does he keep hitting the runways? What's the point? I don't get it. So the Iranians landed a plane at another airport in Syria, probably the Latakia, but I can't remember which one. All this stuff's flying around in my head. I don't remember all the little airports and stuff. And we're told that they unloaded some more precision, longer-range missiles, and they're going to try to bring them into Lebanon. Now, whether or not we'll stop that, I don't know. I don't have an idea, one way or the other. I'm beginning to get suspicious if Lebanon really has all the great missiles they say they had. This could be just a big cock and bull story. They have not gone into the war. We have flown jets well into Lebanese territory and bombed, and they're not going anywhere. Fires are breaking out, and they're telling us all kinds of things about doing arson and all that stuff, and they're accusing us of using phosphorus bombs, and I don't know what else. I don't think anybody uses napalm anymore. I don't think napalm would do any good. It would just start fires, and if we use it in Gaza, I don't think it would hurt the tunnels. I don't think napalm did anything to the Vietnamese people that were fighting out of the tunnels. It's a mess to take out the tunnels. It's not an easy thing. It's a big, massive job that's going to take a long time. I don't know if we're using those new sponge bombs yet. I have not heard any reports that our lasers have been used to intercept missiles, but we did have a curious knockdown of 11 missiles in Tel Aviv a little while ago. And I don't know if it was Iron Dome or a laser. No one told us. So I don't know. I don't know. So now Shabbat's over. There's a lot of information flowing. And the Arabs are apparently getting the use of Elon Musk's internet connection, and they're flowing with information. But it's some of it is real, and much of it is just garbage. So you have to be careful, and I'm pretty careful with it. And I usually post translated from the enemy, which means it's coming out of Arabic. And Iran, you get nothing. Their social media is so tightly controlled. You get nothing. They talk about the price of potatoes and what some new politician. I mean, it's just nothing there. I hit Iranian social media, and there's nothing there. They got it completely controlled. Turkey's completely turned against us. We recalled our diplomats back to Israel. We haven't broken diplomatic relationships with them yet, but this is a similar step. It's not quite as severe, but it's close. America and NATO has a lot of trouble with Turkey. They ought to throw him out, but they don't, I think, because of the Bosphorus Straits, and he takes full advantage of that. I don't think there's any hostage exchange coming up. And I can't really wrap my head around the mindset of these Hamas people because they don't make any sense. Okay? What they would hope for is that Israel gives up or gets pressured by enough countries, they go home and forget about it. And then they run around all over the world claiming a victory and recruit more and more fighters into their movement. And, Israel's not about to do that. So, and I think Biden was saying that Israel has a right to defend itself. The crazy thing is when you listen to them talk, you get the impression they're just sitting there hiding in the tunnels and don't know what to do. No, they're carrying on a warfare against us every day with 200 or so rockets daily. And they want everybody to forget that. And then Erdogan says since Israel is an occupation force army, they have no right to complain. They don't have any right to self-defense. They're an occupation. It's a nonsense, just nonsense. So that's the missiles predominantly are going into central Israel, like Tel Aviv and the Gaza region. And that's pretty much what I got for now. So I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and I'm out. Thanks.